Alright everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about something that I have been putting off talking about because I feel like I'm not 100% qualified in talking about this, but this is something that a lot of people have been asking me about, so I feel like I'm going to talk about it anyway, and it is regarding the legality of operating from your country and also operating in the country that you reside in. And it goes without saying that everything I say in this video is not going to be either financial advice or legal advice. I'm basically going to give you my own experience and what I've seen other people experience when it comes to operating in casino affiliate marketing. So it is very important for you to maybe look up these things yourself as well, and maybe use the things that I'm saying in this video as like pure guidance. And maybe also I can give you some comfort in saying that there's actually not that much you have to worry about when it comes to operating inside of casino affiliate marketing, because everything that we are doing, it is something that is legal, it is above board, and it is a very accepted business model. Obviously you can do affiliate marketing in many things, but we actually talked about this in one of the Q&As that we had yesterday inside of the community. Basically the widespread adoption of online casino, which has actually, compared to when I got started, like almost 9 years ago now, where there wasn't as many local regulations that we have today. When I got started, the UK Gambling Commission just regulated the UK market, and a couple of years later the Swedish market got regulated. The US market has been regulated for quite some time, and the Brazilian market got regulated this year. Germany has been regulated, and Netherlands has been regulated, and there's also markets such as Australia and France, where I call them kind of black markets, that has been totally banning online casino. So I can give you basically the three categories of how I see regulations. Like I just mentioned, you have the locally regulated markets where there is a local license, and you have the countries that is not regulated at all. So the casinos that operate in these countries are basically operating on another type of license, and the two most common ones would be the MGA, the Maltese license, and the Curacao license. So I would give you an example. For example, in New Zealand is a good example where you can operate because it's not legal, it's not illegal, and it's just unregulated. So you can operate there as free as you can. And their other market is I call them the black markets, and I just mentioned it. It is Australia is one of the most kind of common black markets, and I would say France is also one of these ones. The caveat here is that this is also, like I say, this is not something that I would recommend, but this is something that it is happening, and people are still operating in these countries and these markets. Just do a quick Google search and you will see in Australia that you can still promote online casinos there, because there are casinos there that is operating even though they are not allowed to. The worst thing that can happen, I feel, in these countries is that you're going to get either an IP block or you're going to get a cease and desist, either from the government or from Google themselves. And still I feel like this is something that is pretty rare, so that is the reason that both the operators and the affiliates are still operating in these countries. And what the governments are trying to do in these countries is actually not to try to shut down the affiliates. They are more focused on basically limiting the access to the operators, and how they are doing this is most likely through payment methods. They are trying to work with, for example, Visa and MasterCard and banks to prevent people from making deposits at casinos, because if no one can make a deposit, the casinos cannot operate, basically. So although I'm not going to go through every country that exists in the world, I'm quickly going to mention that the US is the only country that requires a state license for affiliates to operate. There are a lot of different state licenses. So if you want to legally operate as an affiliate in the US, you have to apply for these different state licenses. So I do not recommend, especially people starting out, to go into the US market unless they want to do sweepstake casinos, which is basically a loophole where people are, I don't know, buying tokens in order to gamble. And I do feel like this is something that is going to, they're going to regulate this as well. But it is completely possible to operate in the US, especially if you already are an established affiliate with a big company that have the resources to go into the US market. So other than that, I feel like every market is up for grabs. I've been operating in over 20 markets in my life, and some of them are working better than others. Some of them are way more saturated, which means that there's a lot of affiliates that are operating there, so it's going to be harder to fight for the traffic basically. Still, obviously, it's still possible. And some markets have a very low player value, so even if you're operating in these countries and you're sending tons of players to a casino, it's still going to maybe be hard to make a profit from these markets. Although still, it's completely possible to do so. You just need way higher volumes. So if you want to compare, I'm actually not going to compare countries, but for example, if you're operating in the Canadian market or one of the Scandinavian markets, maybe you can figure out that these markets have a higher player value because maybe the base income salary, whatever, is higher. So obviously it's better to operate in these countries, but maybe the competition is going to be a bit higher. Maybe if you want to hire content writers, they are going to be more expensive. So hopefully, so far in this video, you are finding it valuable. Actually, these questions, I have gotten it the most from people that are booking my free one-on-one calls. So if that's something that you want to do, if you have any questions so far, you can book one of these calls with me in the description in this YouTube video. Obviously, you can also check out my community. There's also a link in the description. If you want to connect with over 100 other casino affiliates, they're doing the same thing. And also if you want to be able to reach me every day and night, you can also join the community because there's a nice chat function and I'm always online there, just talking to people. So the next thing that I get asked a lot is that people are basically afraid of operating from their country, because I feel like there's a misconception that just because you are living, for example, in Spain, you have to operate in Spain, and that is not the thing either. I can use myself as an example. I'm from Sweden and I'm a Swedish citizen, and I basically never operated in the Swedish market because when I started, I felt like it was already very saturated. So I went into the UK market, the German market, I went to Spain, I went to New Zealand, Canada, a lot of different other markets. So that is not a necessity. You can go into other markets even though you don't live there. And obviously there's a question about setting up a company if that is something that you want to do. And you don't need to set up a company in the country which you are residing in. I mean, I've been setting up Maltese companies, for example, even though I'm a Swedish citizen. Because that is completely possible. Obviously you have your income taxes and you have all of that stuff. I'm not going to basically advise you in that because I'm, I cannot do that. So because I don't know the tax laws in every country. So I think the biggest problem that people might have when they're operating with casino affiliate marketing is that they maybe have problems receiving payments through their banks. This is something that I've heard people have. I think that maybe it's changing a bit because, like I mentioned before, the widespread adoption of online casino is increasing. So I think that banks are maybe a bit more lenient towards accepting money from the casino affiliate portals when you are actually receiving your commission. So I think that is not something that you have to worry about either. There's always going to be, there's always going to be setbacks, and maybe there's going to be something that goes wrong in your company. I've had a lot of these myself, but you can always find a way around it. So I feel like this is not something that should discourage you at all from getting started with casino affiliate marketing. If you are a person living in the US, you can still operate in the UK. If you're a person that are living in Sweden, you can still operate in Brazil. If you're a person that lives in Netherlands, you can still operate in Germany. And obviously also if you are a person that maybe lives in Canada, you can also operate in Canada. Maybe you want to do that because you know more about Canadian people and their mindsets and stuff like that. So also, like I mentioned, if you have any questions about this, obviously I can do my best in answering them in the comment section maybe, or also in these free calls. Maybe a last thing I want to mention is that you don't have to set up a company either if you want to get started. I feel like maybe it's even better to not set up a company, because maybe that is going to be too much hassle for something that you are only trying to test out before you actually commit. When I got started, maybe the first year, I was just operating as a sole proprietor, so I could take all of my revenue and all of my costs and basically use my personal identification number as my company. I don't know if that's possible in your country, but that is something that is possible in Sweden. So I do hope that this video helped you. And by the way, I am at a different location again. This is my Swedish apartment that I have as well. So I'm trying to spend a couple of months here during the summer as well. And I will go back to Bali soon, so then you will have my normal backdrop from my villa in Bali. So until I see you in the next video, or until you see me in the next video, have an amazing day. Bye bye.